am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Welcome to Prattle World. I'm your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan, and in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. Welcome back, guys. This is the first ever edition of Secret Defenders, where I get guests to come on and speak, which gives me a rest from speaking, because I do a lot of that in these. So I have got a good friend of mine, Andrew Knowles. Angry Andy Knowles is here to defend Bad Lieutenant, Port of New Orleans from 2009, starring our favourite actor, Nicolas Cage. So, Andy, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on board, and why have you wasted my time?
Me waste your time?
I'm joking. It's been a lot of fun so far.
Yes. So why are we here? So you're defending quite a cult film, quite a diversive film, a polarising film. Critics loved it, audiences sort of loved it.
Well, yeah, I think that's the most accurate description you could give it.
It's definitely a unique film. I've just watched it just now with yourself. Yes, I have to say it is one of the more unique films. It's definitely a cult film. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Despite how well it looks, it is definitely a cult film.
Oh, definitely. So I think we should just get stuck right in there. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. So first of all, let's talk personally. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about how we know each other and how we became friends.
Well, we met in university, didn't we?
We certainly did.
Yeah, I think our first conversation that I can remember was, I think we were on a night out, and I think our conversation was about the first Transformers film. You probably won't remember that.
I don't. I
Michael
really
Bay
don't.
one.
I don't.
I didn't think you were. That's
no,
why
I didn't remember.
I
didn't remember. I know because you were in my class, weren't you? You were in the. I know they got swapped around in the final year. We were in an acting course when we were doing an acting course. In case people don't know, we were actors.
Yes, we were.
Careers failing. Yes. But yeah, the first Transformers movie. Had I seen it?
You had, I think you had at that point.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and
it was around.
Basically,
was it around 2007? That must have.
Yeah, it was definitely within the first month or so of university. I think the film came out just prior to us going to university, I think. So I can't remember the conversation in depth, but it evolved from talking about like Michael Bay's Mess, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
We were talking about the mess of the way he does things, how ultra over the top it is, and then
I can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It slowly evolved into like the animated film, the original one.
Which I absolutely love.
Exactly. So I think that's where our conversation sort of like drifted off to, and then into sort of like how they're in like comic books and everything, which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. It was a big comic book.
So I think that's where our conversation sort of like drifted towards, and since then, really.
I think everybody I really bond with, it's through pop culture, it's through movies, through comics, through stuff. Yeah. And I think that's when my strongest friendships come from. You know, sharing the love of something you love is always great.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it does build connections. But yeah, so we've been acting for quite a while. We've done quite a few things. We've been in plays together.
We have.
We've been in separate plays with other people, lesser actors, I will say.
Much
actors, much lesser. We've all had our bad acting experiences and our bad acting stories. But we won't go into that too much. But one of my favourite things about Andy is that when he enters a room, he will act out. Basically, think of any violent action movie or any kind of think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Think of all the violent kind of films of the 90s, and Andy will combine every one of them. He'll pull out a samurai sword and start cutting you to pieces. He will then get out an Uzi and shoot you to pieces. He'll drop a grenade down your mouth and blow you up. Then he'll have sex with your corpse or what's left of your corpse.
That was once.
One time. And one of my favourite ones. I mean, we always play along, like all of our friends do it, and we love it. We have such
You make this sound like I do this in every walk of life.
Yeah, just walk into any room.
When I go to work, I walk in and eviscerate everyone in the
people
pub.
go, "You're fired." You are so fired right now. But one of my favourite moments was when you were doing it, and then you went to pretend to break my neck.
Oh,
and he actually moved my neck, and I was playing along, but I didn't move my neck with Andy's hands, and then we both heard a giant crack come from my neck, and we both looked at each other like, "Oh my fucking god, am I dead?" I've never seen Andy like shrivel and shrink away so quickly.
Shrivel looked like a bad zit.
Yeah, and I just went.
Yeah,
but
I remember that.
To be fair, my neck was actually much better after that. It was a lot less stiff. So.
Intense I can't think of the word. Was it
chiropractic?
Yeah,
Chiropractory?
Yeah, violent chiropractic or whatever.
But
if anyone knows how to say that word properly.
Yes, please write in and to tell us how to speak words, which is basically what we're doing today.
Why are we doing
attempting
this?
To. Anyway, that is Andy Nolson in a nutshell. He is a wonderful person. It's been your birthday recently, and I really do appreciate you being our very first guest. I've struggled to get guests on to just organisational wise and time and things like that. There's only a handful of people who've wanted to be guests so far, but I'm sure that will grow.
Oh, I'm sure it will. There'll be somebody who wants to do a better job than what I'm going to be able to do right here. So.
No, I think you're doing a great job, Billy, so thank you again for coming on. So I think let's get started now, shall we?
Go for it.
We have a lot to talk about. So I'm just going to ask, I've got a few set questions for you. I just want you to kind of just riff and tell us what you can about this film. What can you say? So the first question is going to be, I think it's going to be a tough one for you. What is the plot of this film?
We were discussing this when we were watching it, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched this film, Bad Lieutenant, starring the marvellous Nicolas Cage. I've watched it it must be about 5 or 6 times now. And even I forget what the plot is. Even when I'm watching it. I mean, there's a bit in the middle of the film where it actually lays it out what's happening.
Yeah.
So basically, a family gets murdered, and basically he's trying to solve the murder, but not really trying to solve it. He's after it for his own gains.
Yeah. Which
is basically to, get more drugs for himself.
Yes, get more drugs. So he's basically like he is a bad lieutenant.
Yeah, he's
the title.
He's a bad cop. He's a very bad cop.
So he's a drug addict. He's a gambler. He's abuses his power, doesn't he? Quite a bit throughout the film. I'm sure we'll get into that. Don't worry.
Jesus.
But so there's a lot of kind of awkward, weird, very odd situations he gets in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's hard to but basically he's all those things, and he's trying to investigate a murder. On the most basic level, that's kind of the plot, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's weird because the plot seems to deal less about itself and focuses more on the journey that Nicolas Cage takes. It's weird. It's almost like you're not watching a film about what the underlying plot is. It's more about just him doing really crazy things. Yeah,
I think like some films are very much plot driven and plot heavy, and that's what drives the story on. It is about plot. But for me, this film was definitely more about character than anything else. It's about that performance.
Yeah. It's a ride.
Yeah, it's a ride. And we were saying it's relentless, and it just barrels on constantly, going. It doesn't really have a period where you kind of like, oh, this is a quiet moment, or this is
Well, there was only one moment in the entire film, which is about 15 seconds long, where he isn't on the screen. About 15 seconds, and all it is just 2 women sat on a porch.
Yeah, it cuts between the 2 women, and it doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, doesn't move the story along. It's just like 2 women, bit sad.
Yeah,
and then and then we're back to Nicolas Cage doing.
And it is like you said, it just barrels on relentlessly with him going more and more deeper and darker, and
getting higher and higher.
Yeah, well, yeah, essentially, yeah.
That's his journey throughout the film, get higher and higher.
Yeah.
And the kind of antics that come from his constant dependency on those drugs.
Yeah.
I think the thing that kind of kicks it off, I mean, we don't really, again, the way it starts is just like, and we're in. There's no real introductions, no kind of easing you in.
You see why he develops this back pain. Back pain that he suffers as a character in the film is predominantly the undercurrent of everything. So essentially, that's the plot.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's got severe back pain, and he'll do anything to cover it up.
Yeah. Well, I imagine, like, obviously, like, everyone's had a bit of a back issue here and there, pulled a back.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not nice. It's not. But he's like laid out quite early on that it will be severe back pain throughout.
Yeah.
And if he's walking around, he's doing a very physical job like being a policeman. That's going to really kill him. And you can, what I really like, I think you noticed it. This is the first time you noticed it.
Yeah, exactly. After four or five times of watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, you notice that he has a physicality, doesn't he? It's almost like a kind of he's got a hunch or almost like a Richard III type kind of physical. He's showing you he's in pain physically. Like a lot of actors might forget to do that or wouldn't even try to do that. But I do like Nick Cage's big choices.
It does get more pronounced as well. After I'd noticed it, I noticed that it was getting more and more pronounced towards the end of the film. I'm kind of embarrassed I never saw it before, to be honest, but
it's a nice detail. It's a nice detail, and you can. I think after several viewings of myself, I will be able to peel little layers off and kind of see more. Because I mean, at the moment, I've kind of purely we're just focusing on Nick Cage's crazy Nick Cage.
We literally had a 20 minutes. Break in between watching the film and doing this. So
and that's
still kind of like
it's still it's very fresh for me. I know you've seen it a few times, but again, you're still seeing things fresh, and you're still you're not jaded about it. You're still enjoying it. You're still laughing along with these kind of crazier bits. So when and where did you discover the film? When were you made aware of it?
I think I was made aware of it by another one of our good friends, Nathan Richard Smith.
Oh yes,
I think he mentioned that it was being made, and that it was a remake of the Harvey Keitel one.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't watch it with him. I think I came across it when it was available on DVD. Mm-hmm. I think that's when I bought it and I watched it then. But I knew that it got decent reception. The people saw it as like a quintessential Nick Cage film.
Yeah, it is. Well, it very much is a Nick Cage film. It's exactly. Like barely off screen, and he puts in a performance to be looked at, to be marvelled at, and to be appreciated.
Marvelling's one
what it is. But I remember Nathan showed me. Not really a spoiler, but Nathan showed me. He said. He came to we lived together at the time. He knocked on my door and he said, "Just come and watch this. Just come and watch this." And I came in and there's basically a scene which it's basically Nick Cage sees two young people in a club. He kind of goes up to them and said, "You've been someone has witnessed you, giving out drugs, selling drugs. I'm going to arrest you. You've been identified." And then he basically is trying to get drugs off them. He's trying to find actual drugs so he can take the drugs. And then I won't say any more about that scene just yet, but it does escalate quite darkly, humorously.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it goes the direction which you have no idea or expect in any way it to go.
It's almost I think a lot of this stuff feels like it's very much improvised. Like it's just it doesn't feel like you would write this shit down. It would just be like Nick Cage has gone, I want to do this in the scene. I want to I do see a lot of Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point, though.
Because Tom Hardy's Venom, he's playing a comedy.
Yeah.
And everyone else is playing it entirely straight.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the same in this. Everyone is the straight man to Nick Cage's comedy movie.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because literally everybody is just they're not generic characters.
No.
But if they were in any other cop movie, they would literally be a generic archetype.
Yeah, the grim, gritty, the Dirty Harry,
the gangsters, the seedy older gangsters that can't get out of the life because they blew money left, right, and centre. Yeah.
Yes, it's a really unique take, and I think that's I heard that I read on IMDb that Werner Herzog took took the script. I don't know what the original script was like, and I wouldn't mind having a look at it. But apparently, most of the iconic scenes, most of the most memorable scenes, were put in by him, were written in by him, or I imagine, choreographed with Nick Cage involved, because they just go mad. These scenes are just crazy. And again, I think what it would be that generic cop drama.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's probably how most people would play it, but not Nick Cage. And I think it was originally. Did you tell me it was originally set in New York, or it would have been set?
No, I think it was. They were going to set it in New York, weren't they? I think that's what we read.
Yeah,
they were going to set it in New York, and then they reverted it back to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it plays to its benefit, really, because it's somewhere that's not really in a lot of films, is it?
No, exactly.
Especially films like that.
And post Katrina as well.
Yeah,
you get to see the kind.
It adds a flavour and a character to the film that, if it was just set in New York, it would add to just how generic it could have been.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that really said it was New Orleans to me was like the funeral for the family that gets killed, because it's like a Haitian family, is it? Or
that's
I think
what
so.
Yeah, I
think it's
a
Haitian family, and they're kind of doing a respective kind of burial, and they've got these feathers, and they're spitting out alcohol onto the caskets and things. I thought that was really interesting. And again, like, you wouldn't, on a normal kind of New York cop drama, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it'd just be raining, and they'd be being buried in the rain while everyone's wearing black and white.
Yeah, and I think with the added kind of Katrina, the post-Katrina world, that you could get away with all the crazy shit that Nick Cage does get away with.
Exactly, I think, because the attention's still... Because it's set... The initial part of the film's set 6 months after Katrina. So there's still a lot of, stuff that needs fixing. I mean, like, one of the first establishing shots, like, which is 6 months after, you see, like, still damage from the hurricane, from all the flooding and everything. You still see damage where this murder's taken place. So there's still stuff that the rest of society's having to deal with. So he is able to, go through the underground without anybody noticing.
Definitely. So I think that the post Katrina helped this film, and it does give it a flavour that we haven't seen before, and that we didn't really kind of. We don't. I mean, I don't know if it was even addressed in most films like Katrina. Like, I don't know if there was very many that kind of, and that was quite close to the time, as far as I'm aware. I think
it was 2009. I can't think.
Was it like 2007 or 2008? Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it gives it something different. It gives it an energy and an unpredictability to this movie. So because you've talked about this movie, you and Nathan to me have talked about this movie a lot, and you constantly quote it. It's a very quotable film.
Oh yeah, by far it is.
Without a doubt. So what are the kind of reasons you go back to it? You've said you watched it multiple times. So why do you keep coming back? What are the reasons you love this movie?
I think it's just because of how crazy Nick Cage is in it. I mean, that sounds really sort of like obvious and standard by his films today.
Yeah.
But I love how aggressively crazy he is. I mean, the scene with again, spoilers slightly.
Yeah.
The scene with 2 old ladies in the care home where he just draws a gun on them for no reason. The scene's practically done. You could have easily called cut a couple of lines before, but he takes it that one step further. Nicolas Cage takes it that one step further.
Maybe you should drop dead, you selfish cunt. You ever think about your kids? Or your grandkids? Huh? Sucking up their inheritance through that fucked oxygen tube? And Benny's fucked intensive care? You fucks, I hate you. I hate you both. I should fucking both. Just right now, I should fucking kill you fucking both! You're the fucking reason this country's going down the drain.
So with the old lady scene, we were saying, kind of like I feel like he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
At that point, like he literally, his motivation is getting what he wanted in that scene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, just leave us alone now, leave us alone.
Yeah.
And he literally is about to turn away, leave, and then he goes, No, I'm going to kill you, fucks! I'm going to kill you, fucks!
That's essentially what happens. I mean, it's that one step further for literally no reason, but at the same time, it adds to his character. His character's sliding and sliding and sliding throughout the film. So it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it's so offbeat.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I really enjoy this film. Purely for those moments, because those moments make the film.
I'll be honest, like the moments where he is at his craziest are the best moments in the
Yeah,
film. They're the most interesting, the most dynamic, the one where you're like, because the quieter moments you're like, yeah, I'm glad we have these, or I would.
Yeah,
be. Again,
exactly.
I'm like watching the film. I'm still a bit exhausted by the end of it. I'm like,
Yeah, it is a very exhausting film, and not because of like just there's too much going on. It's the sheer fact that it's so dark and oppressive because of the way Nicolas Cage is in it.
yeah, it's so unique. So like, what is your favourite? I know you've talked about the reasons why you love it, but do you have a favourite moment, a favourite scene, a favourite?
Yeah.
I don't know, even a favourite shot in the entire film.
Well, my favourite scene is the one with the two old ladies where he pulls the obnoxiously large magnum on them. I think it's that whole sequence where he's hiding behind the door and he's just using an electric razor for no reason. They walk through the door, he closes the door behind him, and he's just shaving his face, and it's like, where did that come from? Whose choice was that? Was that your choice, Nicholas, or was that Werner Herzog's choice? I'm not quite sure. Did you just have it on you? Who gave you that? Who gave you the electric razor?
It reminded me. Do you remember? You must remember Predator.
Yes.
Where is it Bill Duke? The Bill
Oh,
Duke.
yeah,
He's
just
constantly.
randomly
He's got the wet shave.
Yeah.
He's not even like putting shaving cream on. He's just constantly shaving his face.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it breaks
on
and
his
bleeds.
cheek,
It was kind of just reminded me of that for a second.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's definitely one of his craziest scenes, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's about midway through, I think.
Yeah, it's coming towards like the climax. It's just over halfway through, and it's starting to build towards like what's going to happen in the finale.
Because he's basically lost the only witness to a murder.
Yeah.
This is actual plot as well. This is involved in the plot. Yeah, this is quite integral to the story.
But again, it takes you until you get there, until your eyes and goes, well, I can't find it. Where is it? And you go, that's actually important.
Oh, that's you literally forget about what he's doing. You're like there's. I'll be honest, guys. There's very little police work done in this.
It's literally everybody else does the police work. He just runs around placing bets, taking drugs, and holding up young people in the car park.
It makes me think of like the Netflix Daredevil show, where Daredevil actually does very little lawyering in the entire thing. Like I always thought a Daredevil show would be good because it's like a lawyer show. It can be like a cool Ally McBeal or something, like a deadly dark Ally McBeal.
I would love to see that show.
Or a deadly dark Boston Legal or something.
Oh God, William Shatner going crazy.
Maybe he should have been in this. Maybe he should have been.
Probably should have been. Would have added to the mayhem.
Okay, right. What's next on the docket? What am I going to ask you next? Good question. I've had a beer, guys, so I'm already faltering.
You kind of need it when you watch this film, either during or after. You need to sort of like go, right, okay.
Yeah,
I need a beer.
You need a break. You need a break.
Exactly.
It's just like we said, relentless. Just beats you and keeps you going. And I think I would need if it went on for another 2 hours, I would probably need some cocaine myself.
Yeah.
I would need an upper end of it to get through it.
Definitely.
I think this is a bit of a pointless question, really, because I think I already know what the answer is. Who is your favourite character in the film?
Well, the only character in the film is Nicolas Cage, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about it while we were watching it, that there are loads of great actors in the film. There's loads of great actors.
Superb.
They all do like really small parts. I mean, Michael Shannon's in there, Val Kilmer. Yeah, poor old Val Kilmer. Yeah. He's not what he used to be, but he's still pretty good in it.
Yeah, I mean,
Eva Mendes is in it as well. So there are some really good actors in
everyone does their job. Everyone he is Nick Cage's partner. He plays Nick Cage's partner.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, they don't have much material to shine with.
No.
And again, when they're playing against Nick Cage's craziness,
they're overwhelmed completely.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it sounds like in any other film it would be a bad thing, but it's not because the nature of the film itself, it needed Nicolas Cage to be like that. To be the only one that stands out against this backdrop of people just going about doing normal cop stuff or normal, guest stuff. I was going to say,
he's like the bellboy.
Like Michael Shannon in it. I mean, I know it was 2009? I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
Still at that point, I think he was, a fairly recognised actor.
Yeah.
At least it's still up and coming.
I think he had a few lead roles around that time, but again, they weren't like Man of Steel Zod.
No, yeah, exactly. But even so, in this film, he's got 2 scenes.
Yeah.
There's another guy in it. I cannot remember his name. The guy just goes, whoa. whoa.
Oh God, yeah.
He's a good actor.
He is great. Yeah.
He gets a decent chunk.
I might
say
look.
chunk.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to look his name up.
Go for it.
Yeah.
He gets a decent chunk in the film where basically he's up against Nick Cage, but it's almost like he's trying to be Nicolas Cage light.
Yeah, he's like
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's interesting because you see somebody who's probably just as mad as he is.
Yeah.
And then come the end of the film, the guy completely backtracks. The character's all like, "Oh, I didn't mean to offend you. You know, I'm so sorry. It's we'll fix this. And I like
everything
you."
out. He's. I think what I said, he was like Nicolas Cage light, and he says "whoa" about like 20 times.
Yeah.
He's like.
That's a really well remembered scene as well. Just the sheer fact that he's whoa, and then retreats out to a room and just goes, "Hell yeah," and then walks off down the corridor. And it's like, oh, okay.
What he's doing, he says "whoa" about 15 times as he's leaving because Nicolas Cage just threatened him because he's beaten up Nick Cage's prostitute girlfriend, who's played by Eva Mendes.
Yeah,
another phenomenal actor in this that again doesn't really get much to do, but again, it's very talented anyway. But yeah, so Nick Cage has got his gun out. He's got his big dick Magnum gun out.
That's what it is.
It is
pure and simple.
It basically represents his dick because he's constantly getting it out.
Yeah,
and he's pointing the gun. There's even a scene later on, and it is. I think it's very much like a power trip, and he does abuse his power throughout the film. Obviously, in his position, even so far as trying to win a bet for a professional football game, American football game. He finds the guy who's local, and he basically threatens him with, because he saw him buy some weed. He was like, right, well, I'm gonna end your career. I'm gonna do this unless you fix your own game so I can win this massive bet.
Yeah.
So it's even his abuse of power goes as small or as big as he wants it or as he needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
But majority of the scenes of this film is just Nick Cage walking into a room and asking or threatening people for drugs, pretty much.
Well, yeah, the crux of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's literally, and it's like crazy scene, and then the plot basically is just weaved between these crazy scene set pieces.
We said that again roughly halfway through when we checked the time, and it was like, Christ, there's still an hour and 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, and we were knackered. And we were like, oh God, really? Is there more crazy?
It's like they just videoed Nicolas Cage going crazy, and then went, right, we'll build a film around this. So
it's like when Bruce Lee died in before Game of Death was finished.
Yeah,
and they were like, right, well, we've got those great scenes of him doing martial arts.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to figure out a story.
Build a film around
we'll just have to figure out a story through these clips.
That's what it comes across as.
Yeah, it's very, very, very unusual. This I'm trying to think of one of the other bits. There's this is kind of spoilers.
Yes, spoilers. Has been out for a very long time.
Spoilers. I think we've avoided this. I think we've managed to avoid it pretty well without spoilers so far. Yeah. But basically, in the end, the end scene, one of the end scenes is really weird because it kind of. It ties up every loose end in the story.
Yeah, in one scene, 5 minutes.
Like in one scene, they just goes, "Oh, that's sorted.
Yeah, they all come up to his desk, don't they?
Yeah, they go. So one goes, "Oh yeah, we the guy we were trying to get. Yeah, we found." And he's basically had a hand in all the things that have been solved.
He's set up all everything that happens in the end. He's set it up throughout the course of the film.
Yeah,
very cleverly.
Yeah. He's through manipulation and violence and blackmail and various other things. But they all come to the commissioner comes to him and goes, the guy we're trying to arrest got his DNA on this crack pipe, which Nick Cage is literally like, this is my lucky crack pipe. He gives it to Exhibit. Exhibit's in this.
Yeah, Jesus.
I've not seen him in much. I've not seen him acting much, but I thought he was pretty good in this.
Yeah, he was.
He was generally, but and then the bet that he made comes through.
Magically comes through.
And Brad Dourif of Chucky fame. And Wormtongue. Is it Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings,
Yeah. He's in this again, very small role, just like a regular role again. And Brad Dourif he's an actor that does crazy very well. Like he is. Very, like I've seen him in lots of stuff.
Very much a character actor.
Yeah, and again, but again against Nick Cage's craziness, it's I'm sure they were like,
normal.
Tone it down. But yeah, and he comes in and says, "Oh, your bet came through. Here's $10,000. Oh, and by the way, that parking ticket I asked you of my daughters to fix.
Yeah, that's been done.
That's fixed, so that's good. good. And then what was the final thing? There was another thing that got solved. I can't remember.
Yeah. That's just it. They all come.
They'll literally run in one after another.
Yeah.
And just be like, "Oh, we fixed that. That's fixed. Don't worry." And he's just like, "Yeah, great." And even the commissioner's like laughing like a manic bastard. He's just like,
it almost seems like that could have been like a twist. Like he's gone that crazy on drugs and everything. It all seems like it's worked out perfectly fine, but in reality, it actually has. It's all been solved for him. It's weird.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me a little bit of is American Psycho. You know, when he thinks everything's turned to shit at the end.
He's just murdering,
and everyone's like, no, it's fine. Yeah, there was nothing there. There's no bodies, but my apartment's covered in blood and all this. He's like, no, it's all good. It's like that. It reminds me of that. Everything's just tied up a little too neatly.
Yeah, when he kills Jared Leto in the film again. Well, it's been out for ages.
Yeah, we're not spoiling American Psycho. If you've not seen it, go and see it.
Yeah, when Christian Bale kills Jared Leto, it's like one of the very first major sort of like horrible kills you see. By the end of the film, he's like, oh no, he is in London. So it's like nothing real happened.
Yeah,
it's so weird. And it almost comes across like that could have been what they were going for at the end of this. But no, it actually has solved all that. It has all been fixed, and he gets promoted to captain. And it's like, oh, okay,
great, okay, and
cool.
even right at the end, like it's shown that he's like all of his family, because it's shown his dad's like an alcoholic, and his dad's wife's an alcoholic. And his his prostitute girlfriend is drug addicted as well. And at the end they're all like, no, we're on sparkling wine, we're on sparkling water, we're on we're teetotal, everything's fine. And even he is like, no, we're good. He gets promoted to captain, and it's like where does this come from? There's like nothing in the film to say that he regrets any of his actions. Nothing to say he's changed.
Well, he even confesses. I don't care about the murders. It was never about the murders. So the whole plot of the film didn't matter to
doesn't
him.
matter. Well, it doesn't. That's what it's saying to us, that the whole film is telling us the plot doesn't matter constantly, and then they're just like,
and he admits it himself.
Yeah, and they'll just like, I'm looking for that guy, or I'm doing this. It's like a way. It's like a kind of the means to the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that yes, we have to have a murder. Yes, he's a police officer. Yes, but look at all the crazy stuff he does. That's the more interesting thing, and seeing him do all this weird and wacky stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just like it's so unique. Like it's one of the most unique films I've ever seen. I did enjoy it, but it's so cult. It's like it's a very. I think
definitely is.
Already, I posted on Twitter earlier about. I said, what do you think of this film? What do you think of Nicolas Cage as an actor? What's your favourite Nicolas Cage performance? And then I think it was at Vintage GT came back and said, nope, I hate him. And I was like that just shows exactly the type of Marmite actor he is.
And it was like what we were talking about, like a lot of his recent releases overshadow his films from the 90s, and he did some amazing films during the 90s and early noughties before his financial whatever happened. Before his troubles started, and then just started spawning out these ridiculously crap films. He did so many great films year after year after year in the 90s. Consistently, and there he was a star. He was a big star. A lot of them. He was nominated for best actor, or at least he was in the running. So he did do a lot of great films. It's just I know he won an award for this. I don't think it was a major award, like Academy. I think it was like an indie one.
Yeah, it was kind of like an indie, because this did surprisingly well at a lot of film festivals. It's directed by Werner Herzog, who is quite famous for being quite an auteur director, and I don't know a lot of his films. I couldn't name his catalogue of films off the top of my head, but I know his name, and I'm aware of his name. I'm aware of the films.
It is one of those names that you know, but then you're not sure why you know.
Why am I aware of? And I think
film catalogue.
Even to me, I'm a massive fan of like cult films and things like that. But I think the more art housey, award-winning films, I'm not that aware of, like years gone by. But there's some weird shots in this film. There's some
absolutely bizarre shots.
Should we talk about the iguanas?
Oh, the iguanas! I mean, I forget about that shot, and I see it every so often. On like YouTube or whatever, when somebody posts up like a meme of it, and I'm like, Christ, how did I forget this was part of the film, and basically they're doing a stakeout, and Nicolas Cage comes bounding into this room after he's taken some coke.
I think that's just any.
Yeah.
I think that's just any
Well,
scene
yeah,
in
exactly.
the film.
Yeah. He takes some coke and then he bounds into a room.
Needs narrowing down.
So he bounds into this room where Val Kilmer and these other cops are doing a stakeout, and the first thing he says is, "What are these iguanas doing here?" And Val Kilmer's like, "Well, what iguanas? What are you on about?" And he's pointing at them, going, "They're there. These iguanas. Why are they here?" And then that's the scene, but it doesn't stop. There's about another minute of Nicolas Cage just staring at these iguanas. He's just staring at them, and then there's a part where he's not looking at them, but then there's like a couple of seconds where he's looking at them from the side of his eyes, at the corner of his eye, and then he just stares at them and smiles. It's utterly bizarre.
And it's like it's a handheld, isn't it? It must be like a handheld.
Like you said, I think it looked like a mobile phone. Or
yeah,
something.
it did look a little bit because it's really shaking. It's got this weird filter on it as well. It's kind of bulbous filter, and it reminds me of things like not Leaving Las Vegas. However, that is a great Nick Cage movie.
Yes, it is.
Probably for me.
Again, mid-90s.
Yeah, mid-90s. Probably. I mean, I'm sure he was nominated for an Oscar. I'm pretty sure he was nominated for an Oscar. Definitely go out and see if you want to see a serious, good, dark, grim and gritty Nick Cage film, which is hard. It's hard to watch. Like it's hard to watch.
Really hard.
It's just like it's the most realistic portrayal of alcoholism I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely heart wrenching. I meant Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. With all the kind of weird filters and the kind of bulbous cameras.
That's a difficult film to watch as well.
Yeah, that's and again that's really cult as well, and that's really unique. I think with kind of like drug kind of experience films or films about drugs and the kind of even like Natural Born Killers is very LSD kind of and that's kind of like what just weird as fuck. I think sometimes people either turn on to that or they turn right off to it. I mean it's because it's not a main factor of this film. It is literally just for two sequences. I think there's one with an alligator. It's always got lizards involved.
There's one with an alligator and then there's one with the iguanas. It's just those two scenes, I think, where this camera shot happens, and it's like right up close to the lizards. The lizards basically like in 3/4 of the screen, and then you see like Nicolas Cage or whatever's happening behind them, in the background, slightly phased out. And I don't know. I don't really understand the symbolism behind it.
No,
I assume it is just purely to.
Yeah, I didn't like. For me, it didn't tell me anything about the story. It didn't tell me anything about the character. It was just like
just there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just like there's iguanas that he doesn't see.
Yeah,
like I think with most films, the way to do that would be like, why are these iguanas here? And then he goes, "There's no iguanas there." And then he looks again, they're not there.
Yeah,
it's to show that they're not actually there. But he kind of just the iguanas.
It doubles down on it, doesn't it? It just doubles down. He goes, the iguanas are there. The iguanas are there. Accept it.
Yeah, they exist. He keeps kind of like in the corner of the eye. He keeps kind of just leering at the iguana. He keeps kind of slightly turning.
I mean, it is as well. It's like the other cops are so focused on staring out the window or whatever it is they're looking at, and he just can't help but look at these iguanas.
Yeah, just has to look at those iguanas. Yeah. It's just so that's definitely the weirdest shot in the film.
It's by far.
And again, like we said, it doesn't say anything to us, doesn't tell us anything about. Yeah,
which is the good thing about this film, and also the bad thing about this film. Yeah, because there's so much that doesn't really make sense.
Nothing. Almost nothing in this film makes sense.
But then that's kind of what the film is as well. That's why it works so well, because it is all that. It doesn't compromise on anything. About that. It doesn't compromise on how crazy he is, or how close to sort of murdering people.
Yeah, exactly. How controversial his behaviour is as a police. As a police lieutenant, you wouldn't obviously act like that and keep your job. Or,
exactly.
Like he manages to keep he manages to keep it very low key.
Very surprisingly. Like
he's as unlow key as anybody can be. But no one seems to really notice. Again, that's kind of reminds me of American Psycho again, where it's like people should know. People should realise.
It's there. All you have to do is pay attention a little bit.
Like American Psycho, you literally say like, "I'm going to fucking cut your head off" or whatever. I can't think of a line now, but he says it, and people are just like, yeah, and they're just because they're so self-involved with themselves in the film, they're like,
exactly,
they don't hear what he's saying, they don't pay attention. So I think we should talk a little bit about. Behind the scenes, and the kind of making of it. So we had a little kind of look through IMDb.
The trivia.
And I think one of the most interesting things was the So Bad Lieutenant was originally, I think it was 1992, directed by Abel Ferreira, starring Harvey Keitel. Very similar plot.
Yeah.
He's a drug addicted, sexual deviant bad lieutenant. He's doing all these things. So that's the kind of, and it was produced by the same guy. They're both produced by the same guy. I think the same studio as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the similarities begin and end with it. But apparently Abel Ferreira went. He said he found out it was being made. He said, "Oh, this is like a horrible feeling, like when you've been robbed." That was his first comment. Then he said, "I hope everyone that's involved dies in hell, and I hope they all share the same car and have a violent car crash."
He's a very nice man.
So very fair. Very It's not. I don't think he's bitter. He doesn't sound bitter.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. Werner Herzog came back and said, "Well, I never saw the original, so it's not a remake." And so it's either. I think it was what happened was the producer put the Bad Lieutenant title on it.
Yeah, I think
that was it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's why it has a subtitle. Is it? Was it Port of
Call, New Orleans?
There we go. I think that probably was the original title. And he went, "Oh well, there was a similar film a few years ago that I liked. It was very popular. Bam, if people remember that film, it's good. Because nowadays marketing for films is the name of the game. It's to get people out to cinema. And it's expensive to market films. So a lot of people that's why we get so many remakes and reimaginings and as well because of rights, because certain film companies have to keep rights. So that's why we've had so many goddamn Spider-Man films. As much as I like Spider-Man, don't get me wrong. This podcast is named after Spider-Man.
Is it?
Believe it or not. So that's kind of one of the reasons. I think for marketing this film, that's why he's done it. I think that's why he's put the Bad Lieutenant. Just
to tap into that cult sort of vein.
I had heard of Bad Lieutenant, the Harvey Keitel version, because someone at college had seen it and they were like, "Oh, it's really good. It's really, really great performance. Blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
So I had heard of it. So when this came out, I was like, "Oh, it's either a follow up or it's a remake or what have you." But so it's weird because it's not technically a remake yet.
No, it's not.
It kind of is.
I've seen the original Harvey Keitel version, and I
imagine it's a very different film.
Yeah, it's very moody. It's very depressing. But there's very few sort of tenuous links. Between the two. I'd have to watch it again because
I think it's purely just subject matter that it happens to have a cop. It happens to have a lieutenant who is drug addicted.
I'd have to watch it again because I watched it when I sort of had my movie renaissance when I was 16, 17. When I was watching like Mean Streets and all these old Robert De Niro, Harvey Keitel films. I think I watched that around about the same time as Mean Streets.
Still never seen Mean Streets.
Have you not?
No, still never seen. I've not seen Casino either.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? That's disgusting.
I know.
What you just heard there is disgusting, and I apologise.
I've seen The Reanimator.
That's a good film.
I've not seen Mean Streets.
No, but I watched it around about that time, so those films they all kind of blended into one in my brain.
Yeah, they're all kind of one film.
Yeah, I can sort of visualise sections of the film, but again I have to watch it again just to see how much of it is actually sort of either been copy and pasted or completely ignored altogether. And I would probably go with the ignored altogether.
It's from what it sounds like. I think again it's just those similar plot points. They've gone, we had a film a few years ago that was like this. Let's use that knowledge if people really liked that at the time. It was well reviewed. We might get some audience because of that. What was I going to say? I was going to say something now and I've forgotten entirely.
That's because you haven't watched Casino, that's what it is.
No, no, you're right, that's what I was going to say. When I was younger, I kind of... because I really enjoy cult films or films that people are unappreciated, that they've never seen, things like that. I really dig those. And when I was younger, people were like, Robert De Niro is the best actor, Al Pacino is the best actor, all the gangster films are the best films. And I was just like, I don't want to fucking watch them. I really have no interest in watching them. I like my actors were like the ones I loved were like Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, Willem Dafoe, Gary Oldman. That you and me love Gary Oldman, Gary Oldman,
crazy Gary.
I think he'd be perfect in this role. Actually, I think if he, his version of this would have been amazing.
British bad lieutenant starring Gary Oldman.
I would pay good money to see that. I would pay good money. I think Gary Oldman is a very underrated actor. I'm surprised he hasn't won some form of like Oscar or Golden Globe. I'm sure he's probably won a Golden Globe or something like that.
Didn't he win for Churchill?
Did he win for Churchill? I don't know. I don't know. Is that or is Churchill coming up? Is Churchill going to be in the next selection of films?
No, that was last year.
I
think it was last year. Christ,
I can't remember. If he did win, I'm glad he did because he's one of my favourites.
And if he didn't, he deserves to.
We tend to quote Gary Oldman from Hannibal, don't we? Quite a bit.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't realise that's him either. Exactly. That's what I love about it.
Yes.
That's what I love about him. Nobody realises that the crazy guy that Hannibal Lecter physically deformed is Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and because he didn't want his name in the credits, is that right?
I didn't know that.
I think he doesn't have his name in the credits. I think.
So that's interesting because that adds to sort of like the mystery. Then
you do see him very briefly in the kind of flashback scenes of him like
cutting his face,
kind of and camply dancing
peel
around.
off your face and feed it to the dog, something like that. I think.
But that makeup is incredible. I think it's probably not the strongest Hannibal Lecter movie.
No,
probably not. No. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's I really like Hannibal Lecter when he's. What I like about Hannibal Lecter, he has this air of aristocracy, this air of kind of, it's very Oscar Wilde, very erudite, very, but deep down he's a fucking savage. He's a fucking animal underneath all that. He is the worst, but he has this air of pomposity and like he's well read.
Yeah.
He loves classical music, all this, but deep down he is less than human. He's the exact opposite of what he's not high society, he's very low society, the lowest society there is. Anyway, let's get back. We're talking about all these great films.
We properly devolved into somewhere else then, didn't we?
Don't worry, I'm used to doing tangents. Even when I'm recording on my own, I do a lot of tangents.
Well, no, going back to what you were saying about like sort of being forced to watch films by people, I think... for my money, I think Casino is probably the most underrated one out of everything. Really? So I'd recommend it purely on that because nobody really talks about it. They talk about Goodfellas, which I love to pieces.
Maybe I could do a Clone Wars, like the previous podcast today that you listened to. Maybe I could do Casino and Mean Streets. Maybe.
See, I'd go more for Casino and Goodfellas, even though it's directed by the same person, starring the same people. For me, Clone Wars only really has to be very slight connection of. And again, I don't think I've seen Goodfellas all the way through. Have you not? No, I don't think I've seen it all the way through. Nathan will kill you. I know. I'm sorry, people. Don't hurt me. I don't mean to be like this. But again, I've watched every weird fucking film under the sun. Yes, you have. I've watched Superfly. I've watched, Oh God! You name all the kind of weird cult films. Brain Dead. I've watched. Brain Dead's ace. Brain Dead is fucking amazing. If you're after gore and zombies and Peter Jackson, just go out and see Brain Dead, or as it was known in the States, Dead Alive. Yes, it was, wasn't it? So let's go back to the film. I know we've had a good divulge. Oh yes. Speaking about some of our favourite films there. So. Why do you think that this movie has what makes it so cult, and why do you think it has such a small fan base, or why the general public aren't willing to watch it, don't like it, or haven't even heard of it? What are those reasons? I think it's purely because the subject matter. It's so in your face. It's like drug addiction, ultra like. I wouldn't say ultra violence because there's not really that much violence. But it's not even that much blood. It's not. It's just it's that intense. In that way, it's like something could happen. Yeah. These people, they can all get blown away in an instant. Yeah. I think it's that. I think it's so intense, and it's hard work. It's a hard watch. I think that's why it never took off with a mainstream audience. But I don't think they ever expected it to be fair. No. Despite the production value and everything, I don't think they ever expected it to be a smash hit. No, it's kind of an art house film meets a cult film somewhere down the line. Yeah, exactly. Because you can tell it has the money behind it, and you can tell that a lot of effort was put. Good filmmakers behind it. Yeah, exactly. I think it was targeting a very specific audience, and it hits that specific audience.
Yeah.
So it's not really a surprise that it for it to be considered a cult film.
Yeah.
I see it as being a cult film. I don't see it as being anything else really other than a cult film.
I think it's very much a cult film, and again, it's very much I think it's a Marmite performance. You could either love it or hate it.
Yeah, the whole film for me, I think, is Marmite. You could go one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean the quiet scenes are quiet. Like there's not much going on when he's not going absolutely ape shit. You know, when he's not going crazy Cage, they're not that interesting. Again, I don't know if that's part of the original script, and they have to have that stuff in for the plot.
Yeah,
to move forward.
There's just a few things like with the whole he takes Eva Mendes into a shed out the back of his father's house, and he's talking about a treasure hunt. And he goes to turn the light on, tries it twice, and goes, "That doesn't work anymore." It's like, did you just was that a direction, or did you just add that in because you knew it didn't work? That's why the film is so good as well, because there's those little moments that you'd miss if you weren't familiar with how Nicolas Cage works. Yeah, it's kind of little quirks. It's
got nothing. Like it's a character moment, isn't it? It's just a weird little character moment, and
tries the light. It tickled me greatly. Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for years.
I loved it. There was a bit where his movements in it are great. Like he's very kind of very direct.
What was he said? Bird-like.
Yeah, I said he's very bird-like. I think the hunch he has, very kind of Richard III hunch he has,
like a vulture. Isn't
it's
it?
Almost it's like a vulture, and he has very much a pronounced kind of crooked nose as well. And with his hair receding as far back as it does and going down, he does have this kind of presence, and that's what he kind of is a vulture. I mean, throughout this film, he's picking off people when they're at their most vulnerable and abusing them and blackmailing them and getting what he wants, getting what he needs. So very much is a vulture. I like that. I mean, I tell you what, if there were shots of vultures,
it would have made more sense.
That would make more sense. Yeah, the iguanas are just like, okay, iguanas do what in relation to the film?
They just sliver around and
or like snakes, because he's a bit snake-like as well. Like the way he behaves.
The opening shot of the film is a snake from water.
You're right. Yeah. No, you're right. Exactly right. I must have missed that. But
it was literally right at the beginning.
Yeah, I think I might have blinked and missed that. But yeah, it's a unique.
It's hard to really sort of either give it the credence it needs or to be sort of like analytical and.
Because you can go both ways with it. I think you can like if you showed it to two film critics, they can give you the complete opposite response to that film.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? What's happening? Why is the character not changing? You know, why there's all this quiet? Why are all these great actors wasted in these small roles where they don't really do anything? But then you can also go the other way. Like I think you could have I think Roger Ebert really liked it. I think he gave it some sort of award.
And then I think somebody like the Sunday Times or something absolutely slated it.
There you go.
But it's one of those, because the legendary Roger Ebert, God rest his soul and all that. You know, he was very strict on films. Yeah, very strict. But he loved it.
Yeah, he had very a lot of his opinions could be like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the audience out there, the fan base out there, do love this, and they love it because of the performance. It is all about the performance.
It is, quintessentially, it's all about the performance.
So Nick Cage. So talking about Nick Cage, is this his best performance? Is this his best? Or is this his craziest? Is this his best crazy performance, or is there crazier performances out there?
It's one of them. It's one of his best crazy performances. But it's not my favourite performance.
Okay.
It's not my favourite. I much prefer sort of like his 90s performances.
Yeah.
Purely when he's going so in depth in a character that like with what you said about leaving Las Vegas, he made himself almost an alcoholic, didn't he?
Yeah. I think he drank a lot before the scenes.
Yeah. So I much prefer when he's that kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I love crazy altogether.
Yeah.
I'm a very crazy person. I love it when manic stuff happens on screen. I absolutely love it. But it's not my favourite.
No.
It's not my favourite performance of Nicolas Cage. But
would it be in a top 10 or
definitely
top 5?
It's in my top 5. Definitely, it's in my top 5.
Not Ghost Rider then.
Oh God, no. That's crazy. That's crazy. Where there's nothing. Well, I say there's nothing to back it up. There's nothing really to back it up in Bad Lieutenant. But
no.
That Crazy and Ghost Rider is just it's the wrong film for that film.
Yeah, it's kind of for me the craziness should come through Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
because he's a he's a flaming headed demon on a bike.
Yeah.
You know, the other side of Ghost Rider should be relatively normal,
straight and
played straight. I actually thought the original Ghost Rider film, I was like, why didn't they just keep the young guy playing? You know, the young guy where he plays the young Nick Cage character, Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Because I liked him loads more.
Yeah, and
I thought he was much. He did a really good impression of Nick Cage's performance as well.
Yeah,
which I think was really good. But the film, it's shockingly bad.
Yeah.
The sequel is a bit better, but not by much. You've got
not much at all.
French Idris Elba.
Oh, God, what are you doing?
For some reason. Ghost Rider pissing flames.
Yeah, that was on the promotional footage as well, wasn't it? Here it is, and it was like, oh, you're not doing what we wanted you to do. You've gone the complete opposite way.
Yeah.
More crazy does not make it better with Ghost Rider.
I think there are kind of shots, again, the shots that are you probably comparable to the shots in this, kind of when it's going a bit odd and weird and like and when he's like Ghost Rider's move and he turns up, it is a bit ethereal and kind of LSD like.
Yeah. But again, that's like
acid actually,
that was for a mainstream audience.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas in Bad Lieutenant, you know, you could get away with that stuff and not have to explain or compromise on it.
Exactly. What were we talking? I'm just trying to think about. Actually, can we talk about the crack pipe scene a little bit?
My favourite crack pipe. My lucky crack pipe.
This is towards the end of the film.
Yeah. Oh, what a bizarre sequence. Absolutely bizarre. So basically, it's when everything starts to come together, isn't it? So like his master plan. He's got some drugs, he's selling some drugs, and this guy comes in who's been chasing him for about a third of the film.
Yeah, so this kind of mobster. So the guy who's kind of out-caged Nick Cage, or the Macho Man Randy Savage impression, as I see it. Because I thought that initially, and I was like, no, he's Macho Man. Oh yeah, whoa, you know, all that. But yeah, he comes in, is like, I'm chasing my money. So yeah, Nick Cage is working with Exhibit's character.
Yeah,
he's been chasing him throughout the entire film because he's linked to these murders. But he kind of goes, well, I need drugs, so this is the best way for me to get drugs.
And I need the money as well.
Yeah, so that the gangster walks in and says, right. Well, no, it's before that, really, before that mobster come in, isn't it?
The smoking, you know, crack, and Nicolas Cage just pulls out his own crack pipe and says, hit me up if you got some more, and then they share it between the two of them, and that feeds into sort of like the end of the film.
Yeah, and he goes proper crazy. Like this, I think this is the point of the film where he is at his craziness.
He peaks. His peak craziness.
Yeah, like it kind of, again, we've got I don't think we spoke about we didn't go back to that, the drugs with the kids in the club. We didn't go back to that scene.
Oh no, God!
But we'll go back to that. We'll go back to that quickly. So yeah, so he picks up these kids because he thinks they're doing drugs.
Yeah,
and then it gets a bit sexually perverse.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, it goes the direction you didn't anticipate it to go.
It reminds me again of. It just reminds me of a load of films. But do you remember Naked? One of our tutors was in fact in Mike Leigh's Naked. Did you ever watch it?
I never watched that.
You never saw it.
I didn't really want to watch it.
Yeah. We started watching. We put it on. We were like, oh, Darren, our tutor's in this, and we were like, great, okay, let's watch it. And it was already quite a well-known film anyway for reasons. David Hewlett is in it. He plays the main character. But I noticed that and it's mostly an improv film. Like it's mostly improvised.
Yeah, I remember that.
And almost every single scene, like back to back, he'd meet a woman. He's kind of homeless, kind of vagrant kind of thing. He goes to these women, meets them, and then has rough sex / rape with them. Yeah,
I think that's what sort of like put me off it.
Yeah, it's kind of, and they're all kind of back to back. All these scenes are back to back, and I'm thinking, if this scene is improvised, and David Thewlis is constantly going there.
Yeah, where's the line drawn?
Yeah, and I did see the scene with my tutor, and it's basically he's putting up the old school kind of those posters you used to kind of put up.
Yeah, I remember him explaining the scene.
He had like a kind of brush, and you put the brush on, then he slapped the poster up, and then he put the brush over it again.
They still use that. To be fair.
Yeah, they probably do. I think maybe that's
the modern age.
The modern age probably don't use. I don't know what they would use, but it reminded me of that because he was like. improvised scenes kind of you've just got to say with that in regards to acting with improvised scenes you've just got to keep saying yes constantly yes
if you block it with anything it's kills it dead. But then the same thing is there's always the danger that it snowballs in the same direction depending on what you
and I think that's what's happened. That's what I think happens with this scene is he decides to take it in this. I think again like the old lady scene as well. He just goes. I think he's just had free reign by Werner Herzog, and he's just go crazy, go mad. And
it's quite obvious the actress that he's in the scene with kind of knew what was coming. And whatever,
I don't think.
It's not a case of like he just takes the reins completely.
No. I don't think she was made to feel uncomfortable
the dialogue is probably bizarre, and the way that he acts in the scene is bizarre.
So basically, he gets the two kids. He finds some drugs on
kids,
them. Kids. I say kids. Yeah, no, they're over 18, 20, early 20s at least. But young people then. Young people. Young man and woman.
Young people and your guns.
But yeah, so he gets them, and then he's like, right, empty your bag, show me all your drugs, where are your drugs? And this guy's kind of like a preppy kid. He's like, oh, my dad finds out,
he's gonna have a heart attack and kill him.
He's got one of my favourite lines in it. He's like, can I come to jail over the weekends? Can I go to jail over the weekends?
Jesus, that's just so throwaway.
I was just like,
I can come to jail on the weekends and it'll be fine.
It'll be fine, just don't tell my dad. He's like, if I was your dad, I'd want to know. And then slowly but surely, he's like, he finds a crack pipe in the girl's bag, and he goes, right, and he basically just says, where's the crack? I want some crack. And she's like, you want a hit? He's like, yeah. So she smokes the crack pipe and blows it into his mouth a couple of times, and he's like, and then all of a sudden it's like he kind of he gets excited. And then he starts they start kissing and they start having sex, and the guy's still up against the wall kind of like, and he's going like, what the fuck, and I think anybody who watches that scene is thinking the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't end there. He tries to run away, the kid. And then Nicolas Cage pulls out his big dick gun and fires into the air and goes, you stay and you watch me fuck your girlfriend. It's like, where did this come from?
And that's where the scene ends as well.
Yeah. There's no repercussions to it. It just ends.
And it's got nothing to do with the plot. It doesn't advance the plot anymore. It just shows you how fucked up Nick Cage's character is.
How determined he is.
And it's the dialogue while he's having sex with her is even weirder. Yeah. He starts acting like, why does she smoke crack? Yeah. Why is she so fucked up? Why does she make these bad decisions?
There's like questions like, did you get abused? And she's like, no.
Yeah, it's like,
did your daddy not come and watch your school play?
Yeah, he's just coming up with all these weird reasons, and they're just basically just having sex, and he's like,
But again, that scene is one of the scenes that people go to when they talk about this film.
Well, that was the scene I was shown, and my friend was like, just watch this fucking mental scene. Nathan was like, just watch this crazy scene, and I was like, fucking hell. And after I saw that scene, I never saw it. I've only seen it today. Today is the first time I've seen it, but I've heard and seen the clips. I
think me and Nathan reenacted that scene for you. I think
probably,
at one point.
Probably. I wouldn't have been surprised. But I remember there's several videos. Like one of my favourite videos on YouTube is like Nick Cage loses his shit, which is just a collection of him going absolutely nuts in all the films he's ever been in, and it's great, and I really enjoy it. Yeah. There's Kiss of the Vampires in there.
That's just it. And most of those films that are in that 10-minute video, Nicolas Cage loses his shit. They're all from the 90s.
Yeah, all the best ones.
All the best ones.
You don't see Bangkok Dangerous in there, do you?
No. Oh God, what a terrible film that is.
Yeah, so I think he's just. Well, it's just we were going back to the crack pipe. Yeah, sorry, we're jumping all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise, but the film does the exact same thing. So let's jump back to the crack pipe scene. So we went over that one. These are we talked about the three craziest scenes in the film.
Yeah, and I think this is this one.
This is the height.
Yeah, this feeds into the just how crazy it is.
Yeah, and he. There's a little scene before this in a car, but this one's it's better. It's still a little crazy, but it's not as crazy. Was it to the break of dawn? To the break of dawn. To the break of dawn. He's like pointing a big gun. He's got a big gun. And the big gun is obviously quite the metaphor in this movie. I think.
It is definitely
for his power and his.
He whaps it out whenever he wants to assert his authority.
Oh, definitely. He just goes, "Yeah, no, I'm going to shoot you." I forgot to talk about the prescription scene.
Oh God!
we've got to talk about the prescription. Let's talk about that, and then we'll go back.
Yeah,
we've got time. We've got
go
loads
on.
of time. We've got loads of time.
We've got loads of time to ruin your ears.
So the prescription scene. He goes in. It's a chemist. It's a normal chemist. And all he's going in is for some medication for his back. That is literally it. And it just devolves. What happens there?
Within literally, I don't know, 10 seconds, the chemist is on the phone, and he's just screaming at her so he can have his prescription, and he just loses it almost immediately. Storms behind, starts throwing things everywhere, and then the security guy comes over.
Sounds like one of my customers.
Yeah, the security guy comes over, and oh God, he goes, I'm a cop, I can do what I want. See this? And shows him the gun. Shows him the big gun.
He even said, I think the security guard goes, but why are you acting so crazy?
Yeah. He goes, fuck you, and then walks straight out.
Yeah, he gives her a bigger tip. He says, I get a discount, but here...
$23? Here's 40. Buy everyone a drink. Yeah. Fuck you. And then walk straight out.
But to be fair, he could have taken more drugs. Like, it surprises me at that point in the film, he doesn't take more kind of...
Yeah, he just takes his Valium or whatever.
Yeah, he just takes whatever drugs he's prescribed. It's just like that is the tip of the iceberg of the whole film. It just gets.
I think we said that, didn't we?
Yeah, consistently crazy.
You looked at me and you went, "What is this? Like, this is just the beginning, mate. This is we still got much more. We still got an hour and 45 minutes to go."
Fucking hell. Oh, I don't think I think it was like 5 minutes in. I think it was more than that. I was like, 2 hours? I was like, surely this isn't 2 hours. I don't think I've been this exhausted since I watched Mad Max Fury Road.
And that's relentless as well.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
It's relentless of a different nature, this though, isn't it?
It's much more character driven. Like, that's more like situation and set pieces, and it's relentless. But with this, it's purely...
It comes to a head with the whole ending crack pipe scene. So they're all in place, all these crazy people, and then the obviously Italian-ish gangster upsets Exhibit. Exhibit just blows him away, and then they blow away the two guards as well that came in with
Oh god, yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about this bit.
And then so they're all high as a kite. Nicolas Cage is laughing and sneering, and he sneers and laughs for about it must be about 2 minutes.
Yeah,
but he's just saying stuff that I can't remember to Exhibit.
He was saying stuff like I'm not Eazy-E, and then laughing and all sorts of weird like he's like, someone goes, that's the crack talking, I don't know why that's my white man voice, but
it's not far away. That's the crack talk.
It's kind of just like it's kind of just this kind of it's almost like they put it in afterwards.
And then everyone gets blown away, and then literally they stop shooting. Nicolas Cage goes, shoot him again, and one of the guys goes, why the fuck should I? And he goes, his soul's still dancing. And then the camera pans, and there's a breakdancer in the middle of the room wearing the same costume.
Yeah, the exact same outfit.
Blown away.
Red blazer and everything, yeah.
And Nicolas Cage just watched him like he was watching the bloody, whatever they are, those lizards.
like he's staring at them like the iguana.
It just hammers home everything about the film in that sequence. It just hammers everything home.
I watched the trailer, and the trailer's quite tame. It's not like an R-rated trailer, and it doesn't. I wouldn't say it sells the film very well. I mean, it kind of hints at the craziness that's in it. Yeah. But I was like, but it is much more plot based. It was like, this is the plot. He's got a bad back. He's taking drugs. And there's a few hints at how crazy it gets.
Yeah, so the plot you get in the trailer is pretty much all the plot you get in the film.
Yeah, exactly. That's if you watch the trailer, that's all you need to know about the plot, basically. But like you said, it was never about the murders. But like when I saw that bit in the trailer, it was like, shoot him again. His soul's still dancing. Doing that weird laugh he does, that kind of raspy laugh. Not even a laugh, really. But for some reason, I was just like, I thought that's just going to be like, why? And then they'll turn and he's dead. But they turn and then there's a breakdance.
It is literally, wearing the exact same costume that the
electric boogaloo.
Yeah, and he's just spinning around, and then he goes, "Well, you just shoot him again." And he fired the shot.
Yeah, and shoots, and he kind of falls over. Yeah. You kind of don't really see them shoot him though. They shoot the breakdance, so he kind of just falls. Yeah. But yeah, that is just.
It is like sort of like that's it. That's the peak of the madness.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't get any madder than that. But the whole thing is just mental. Like just absolutely mental. Like I don't think I could Like I've compared it to in moments to a few other films, but I couldn't compare this full film to another full film.
No, I don't think I could either. If somebody was to ask me to compare it to something else, I don't think I'd be able to.
It's just a bizarre kind of tumble down the rabbit hole, and you're just continually falling,
relentlessly falling,
and just seeing all the weird shit pass you by, melting clocks and iguanas and
Nicolas Cage
and close-ups with crocodiles for
Fat
no
Val
reason.
Kilmer.
Yeah, fat Val Kilmer. And again, like this, it's not even like the good actors in it get much to play with. Like the scenes that literally Nick Cage comes in.
We said it earlier on.
Says a couple of like it's not even 2 minutes. Most of the scenes he's in.
The scenes are very short.
They're like da la 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 bye. And it's like they don't even get to say much or to add to the story. They're just kind of responding to him. He's the catalyst of this film. He's constantly he's the thing that keeps it moving, and you're following him through the film.
Yeah. And that's why it's exhausting, because it is literally shot, cut. There's no bleeding in of scenes or anything. It's just simply scene, cut.
Yeah.
There's no fade to blacks. It's just cut there, cut there.
Like most stories have interludes. Like even the smallest short story or even comics. I read a Spider-Man and Venom comic once, and it's basically them just fighting to death on an island. There was 2 interludes in that. That's just 20 pages.
Yeah.
There was still 2 interludes in that story.
Yeah, and
that had no interlude. That had no break.
Well, we did. We had that 15 seconds where they sat on the porch.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I took a breath.
Yeah.
I managed to take one breath, and then we were back.
Yeah.
We were back to big guns, big dicks, drugs. And
I've got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
What would you give this on a Nicolas Cage out of 10?
A Nicolas Cage out of 10. So what?
One being
what kind of rating?
One being tame, and like 10 being
so like a more
absolutely
like
crazy.
Okay, so craziness level. We're talking craziness level. So okay, so
consider you've watched a lot of Nicolas Cage.
I have seen a lot. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things. Too many to mention, but I've not seen all of them. But I'd say we're looking at least a 9.
Yeah,
I think 8 or 9. Definitely a 9. I wouldn't say 10, because I feel like I don't think even Nick Cage has the ability to go that far in himself. I don't know. Maybe when he was younger.
That's just it. We were talking earlier. We haven't seen the film called Mandy, and apparently that's really, really good. Apparently, really good Nicolas Cage film.
Yeah. Apparently has a cocaine-fueled chainsaw fight or something.
Exactly. So that might be his 10. You know,
maybe that's a spiritual sequel to this.
I can't see it, but if it is, God Almighty.
But no, I've heard good things about it, and I definitely do really, really want to see that one.
Likewise.
But I'm gonna do. I think we're slowly winding down. I think we're slowly coming to an end. I think we've said pretty much all we can say. Yeah, all my notes. I think I'm out of notes, really. I think we've discussed it one way or another. I'm out of notes, so I've got nothing left to say.
Just stop talking.
Just cut it off there. Done. We're done talking. I've got a little test. This is.
You didn't tell me about this.
No, I've got a little test. It's not for you. It's for the film itself. It's not. I'm not gonna test you. I'm just gonna see if you agree with this. What it is I've put together various tropes that kind of crop up in cult films. So obviously cult films come from all different genres and various things, but a few things kind of stick out a little bit more than most in most cult films. Be it whatever it could be whatever. But we'll go through the list. I want to see if this film, like if it gets a decent amoup of yeses. I mean, I consider it a cult film anyway.
Well, yeah, so do I. So
just literally,
we'll play the game.
We'll play the game anyway. We'll go for it. So Andrew Knowles.
Yes.
Does this film feature excessive violence?
Oh, I don't think it does. I think it threatens to show excessive violence.
But it's not actually on the screen.
No, it's not.
It's more the
implications.
The implications, yeah. So
we're not with the old ladies. He could quite easily.
He didn't shoot them.
No,
yeah, he didn't shoot them.
But he's very close.
Yeah, he's on the edge. And
I don't think I would have liked to see that anyway.
But they do. Those gangsters do get shot.
They do, but it's not gory.
No, there's not a lot of blood. There's not a lot of blood.
No.
I think that leads on to the second question. Does it feature buckets of blood?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, there's very
apart from an alligator that's split in half by a car.
Do you think that was a real alligator?
No.
Nah, I don't think so either. Well, the one that's alive in that weird shot is definitely alive.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Is that or is it a crocodile? I'm not sure. New Orleans.
I can't remember.
Somebody get back to us and tell us what's the difference.
Hit the comment section.
Okay, is there any does it feature gratuitous nudity?
No, it doesn't, but it does feature gratuitous Nicolas Cage grinding on young females.
It's because that's what everyone wants to see. That's
I'd never seen that before.
That's what they
Nicolas
tuned
Cage
in
film.
for. They were like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, let's
exactly.
ground on that." But she does. We do see her bottom, don't we?
We do.
Would
You're
that
not
be-
wearing any panties? He says that as well.
She was not. She was not. So I don't know if that counts. One bottom.
Well, yeah,
bare bottom.
we'll chalk it up.
We'll say.
Give him a point.
We'll give him 1 point. So we've got 1 point. So no excessive violence, no buckets of blood. But now, I think this is going to be a yes.
Is this a big yes?
Does it feature over the top acting?
Yes.
Definite yes.
From one man, mind you.
This
From one man.
This one-man film. It might as well have been one man.
Yeah, you could have had cardboard cutouts and nobody else would have noticed.
Do you think in this film Nick Cage is this isn't part of the test, but do you think Nick Cage is being selfish in the scenes? Is a selfish actor?
No.
Is he
No.
stealing the scenes to the detriment of the other actors?
No, because there's that good scene where when the young boy sneaks in through the window into the grandma's room, he has a really good scene where basically the focus is entirely on the young kid. He's asking him questions.
Yeah.
And you can see the kids. He might be terrified of Nick at that point. I don't know, but you can tell that Nicolas Cage is gifting him.
Yeah, he's giving him the
some
moment
stuff.
to shine.
Yeah, so there are moments where it is all Nick Cage, but I don't think he purposely steals the thing. I think it's just the way that he's developed that character.
Yeah, and the way the film focuses on him.
The character absorbs everything in the film. That's different from somebody stealing.
No,
scenes.
you're right. No, you are
different
exactly
from
right. We know what being a selfish actor is. We've worked with some.
Yes, yes, we have Nathan Smith. If you're listening,
Definitely the most selfish.
Nathan Richard Smith,
named and shamed. Okay, so it does feature over the top acting. So
yes,
what's that?
That's a big
two.
Yes.
That's two so far.
Two.
Does it have a ludicrous premise? Does it feature a ludicrous premise?
Well, the premise is actually, the basic plot of the family murder.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty
what happens
standard.
around it
Yeah.
is completely ludicrous.
Yeah.
Which is what I think we tapped into earlier on about, like, it's post-Katrina crisis, so all this madness is allowed to happen because focuses are elsewhere. They're still dealing with the aftermath.
Definitely.
So does have a ludicrous premise, but
I'm gonna say
I wouldn't not in that context.
Not in this context.
I know what that context means.
I'd say no. So still on two there. Does it feature an experienced elder actor?
Oh.
So with that, I mean like quite advanced in age. So past 50 plus. I'd say. I mean, he's
not in the spotlight.
No,
not in the spotlight. I don't know whether is he 50 plus there. I don't know.
I guess sort of. I mean, Val Kilmer must be coming close to 50 at least.
Yeah, well, again, I don't really know. Val Kilmer looks older than he is.
We'll say no.
Yeah.
Here's a big yes. Does it feature quotable dialogue?
Absolutely. We don't even need to bother. We've already quoted half the film in this podcast alone.
I kind of don't even want to ruin the rest of the quotes. I want to just leave that for your own viewing. Yes. Well, I do. I don't know. Okay, so that was So that's three. We're on three. Does it feature a martial arts display of some sort?
No,
it
really doesn't.
It really does. There's breakdancing.
Yeah, there's breakdancing.
Does it feature gunplay?
Gunplay in the sense of like action sequences, or just him?
I mean, you could argue he does play with his gun, and I just mean kind of firing a gun, use of a gun.
Well, yeah, those gangsters get blown away pretty horrifically, don't they?
That's true. 4. Does it feature a professional sport? I mean,
it does.
It does, yeah. So it does. It features American football because he's betting and gambling
he's constantly betting on Louisiana to win.
That's right,
and that's how he gets into all this debt, which factors into the end of the film.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So what's that? 5? We're on 5.
I think
5?
So. Yeah.
Does it feature body swapping?
No.
No, definitely not.
Just no.
Does it feature smart characters making stupid decisions?
Oh, well, I don't really know.
It's hard to say.
It is hard to say. I don't know. Not in the sense of like somebody.
It's not like a scientist, and he's
no.
It's not like Prometheus, where he's like, "We can breathe. We'll be fine."
Yeah, no, it's nothing like that.
No problem. Okay, so on 5. Is something? Does it feature something that's non-threatening, made threatening? So like Night of the Lupus there are deadly giant bunny rabbits.
Again, I'd have to say no.
No.
It's not looking good for the Bad Lieutenant in terms of cult status, but we're going to ignore it anyway.
These are subject to change. If you want to add any questions to this, does anybody else wants to add any questions to the cult film test? This is something I've come up with. If you come up with any other tropes,
I do like it though. It's very thorough.
Any other tropes or any other ideas? Does it feature machismo?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, that's a big yes.
Yeah, I'd say so. I definitely, the way he acts, I'd say.
Well, the gun is a metaphor for his penis.
Definitely.
Wipes it out all the time.
I mean, machismo. I could, that includes toxic masculinity as well. Anything like that.
You can tell that gun's heavy as well. I think that was one of the trivia things I read a long time ago. Was that he wanted the gun to be really heavy.
Right.
So it looked like he was pulling out his pants, so it looks more than
So
every time he pulls it out, you can see he's actually using the
full force of his body, No, I like that. Okay, so what's that, 6? We're on 6?
Yeah, 6, yeah.
6, okay. I'll just open my phone again as it locked for some reason.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so machismo, does it feature dance choreography?
Yes, it does.
It does, okay. Number 7. Just that one sequence. Just that one still dancing sequence. But it does. This is another giant yes. Does it feature a metric ton of drugs?
Well, I think more than a metric ton, to be honest, but yeah.
Gallons and gallons and gallons. That 8? 8 now?
Yes,
I'll let you keep
count.
We're on 8. Does it feature pseudoscience?
Oh, no.
No kind of science fiction elements.
No, not in the vein that you're looking for.
No. This is an interesting one. Does it feature a post-apocalyptic world?
Oh, well...
Could you argue that the post-Katrina, Louisiana, New Orleans is...
I would argue that it is in a way, because the reason he gets away with things is because of everywhere's still in chaos. So... Yeah. Arguably, yes, but is it in the vein of sort of like a cult film? No.
Yes. So if it was, it's not.
The world's not destroyed.
It's not like Rain of Fire where the dragons have taken over and it's just everything's wasted. So do you want to say yes or no? I'll let you decide.
Let's give it half. Let's give it 8. It's on 8.5.
8.5.
8.5.
Does it feature sexual fetishes?
Yes.
Yep. Smoking crack and having sex with young female girls while pointing a gun at her boyfriend.
He bursts into a room where Eva Mendes is dealing with a client, and they have a mutual conversation about him, getting some drugs from the other guy.
Yeah.
So kind of.
Yeah, sure.
So that's 9.5.
9.5. Does it feature a diverse cast?
Oh, yes, actually, it does.
I think it does too. Yeah, I agree. Does it feature a heist?
No.
No, it doesn't feature a heist.
10.5 run.
That would be interesting, though. That would be interesting to see how he could organise a heist while being that high.
I kind of wish it was in the film now, to be fair.
Bad Lieutenant, the heist.
Oh, that'd be an interesting sequel, that.
Does it feature a montage? Not unlike a training Rocky montage, or
no. The closest thing we get to it is the scene with the iguanas, where it's just focusing on them.
I'd argue it's
not a montage.
It's not several different things.
No, it's just
several different shots of the same thing.
Yeah, no.
So we're on 9.5 still.
10.5.
10.5. Sorry, 10.5. Does it feature Cold War politics?
No.
Does it feature a grizzled cop?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, a grizzled in the sense that he's very.
Yeah, he's
been through the ringer.
Noirish sensibilities. Yeah.
So 11.5.
Does it feature a conspiracy?
Oh.
I guess there's smaller conspiracies.
Yeah, because he builds the conspiracy, doesn't he? He builds.
He creates it, doesn't he? He creates the case through non-lawful means.
Yeah, exactly. So You
say cool.
Oh yeah, 12.5. Yeah.
12.5. Okay. Does it feature a resurrection?
No.
Everyone's very dead.
It points to it at the end and it goes, well, actually, he hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. Does it feature an unconventional love story?
Yes, it does.
It does.
It really does. Okay. Eva Mendes, yeah.
Does it feature sports cars?
Again, no, it doesn't. But it would have been even better if it had done. If he was driving a full-blown Mustang.
So, does it feature little people?
Funnily enough, there is a sequence. I think you missed it. There's a sequence where he's walking into a cafe or a shop or something, and a little person.
There's a little person there. Okay, fair enough.
Again,
definitely.
It's not a thingy, but there's someone in there.
That counts.
That's a purposeful shot as well.
Yeah.
It's a purposeful shot. So
Right, I clearly missed that, definitely, but it would add to its
14.5.
weird.
Yeah.
It would add to its weird.
Again, yeah, because it is a bit bizarre, really.
Does it feature an animal in a starring role?
The iguanas,
The
so
iguanas,
yes.
yeah, we'll say
They're
yeah.
on the front. Lizards are on the front cover. There's a snake on the front cover, an iguana on the front cover. So yes, it does. 15.5.
15.5. That's good. That's a good score. Does it feature noir-like narration?
No.
No. It probably. I don't think you need it in this film.
No, you don't.
But maybe in another cop drama, you could.
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
probably need that. Does it feature Japanese weaponry?
No. Again, these are all things that I'm now like, God, it would have been. What would have happened if they included a samurai sword or, I don't know, something along those lines?
Okay. I'm just checking the time. Does it feature creepy children?
No, it doesn't.
Does it feature bullies?
He's a bully, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big bully.
He's a
And
nasty bully.
the guy also punches his girlfriend, punches the
Yes.
prostitute girlfriend. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, 16.5.
16.5.
Yeah.
Does it feature? This is one for you, Andy. Does it feature Nazi themed anything?
No, it doesn't.
Fair enough.
Thank you very much for that. Now everyone's going to think I'm a Nazi. Thank you.
He's not a Nazi. He just has interest in World War II. Like myself, I also have an interest.
I do
in
a
World War
horribly
II.
convincing German accent as well.
You know, you've played. I mean, I've played a Nazi. You've played a Nazi.
No.
We've got that in common.
Yeah.
We're friends.
Yes.
We don't have. There's not swastikas covered.
No, there's not.
There's no swastikas here. There's no.
Do not come and burn my house.
We're not in Nazi. We're not in SS uniforms. So just us being casual.
We're really not.
Okay.
16.5.
So we've got four. I've got. Oh, how many have got? Okay, I'm just gonna blitz through these last
Go for
few.
it.
Okay, ready? Does it feature a trending fad at the time?
No.
Does it feature LGBT content?
No.
Does it feature body horror?
No.
Does it feature an idiot character?
Yeah. No.
No. Does it feature punk, rock, or rap music?
No.
Does it feature a celebrity cameo?
No.
No, yeah, I know Werner Herzog does cameo, but I wouldn't say he's a celebrity.
Well, I didn't see him, so no.
Does it feature supernatural powers?
No.
Does it feature time travel?
No.
Does it feature space travel?
No.
Does it feature an exorcism?
No, but there's voodoo content, but no.
No. Does it feature child protagonists?
Child protagonist. No.
Does it feature nerds?
No.
Does it feature the military?
No.
Does it feature a crazed killer?
No.
Does it feature a vigilante?
No. Not really, no.
No, I'd argue he's not vigilante.
No, he's not.
Does it feature cults?
No, not as the main plot thread, no.
Aliens?
No.
Vampires?
No.
Zombies?
No.
Wizards?
No.
Mythical creatures?
No.
Mutants?
No.
Ghosts?
No.
Robots?
No.
Demons?
No.
Witches?
No.
Kaiju?
No.
Monsters?
No.
Apes?
No.
Samurai?
No.
Ninjas?
No.
Gangsters?
Yes.
Vincent Price?
No.
Samuel Jackson?
No.
And the final question on my cult test is, does it feature Nicolas Cage?
That's a big yes.
All right.
18.5.
18.5. You know what? I think with that score, going through all the questions we had, I don't think
It doesn't qualify,
passes
does
the test.
It doesn't qualify. But it's going to qualify anyway.
Yes.
Because it has to.
It has.
Purely by the way it is.
I think
it has
the
to.
test I have is for very obviously out there cult films, and I
Yeah.
don't think this is as out there it could have been.
No.
I don't think 18. I think 18.5 is a decent score.
But it's not. It doesn't.
It doesn't fit
No.
those kind of really out there.
Yeah, and
cult
I've
films.
seen some
Like
cult films
mad-
which they
mad.
almost get every single
one of those. Exactly. Okay, guys. So I think we have come to an end.
We have.
Have you enjoyed yourself?
I really have as well. I didn't think it lasted an hour and a half, but we've
We've done it. We've done it. I thought we might have to have like a different section or something, but
So did I.
we've talked through the entire film in length for the full length of the podcast.
I do wonder how coherent it's going to be.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? We will find out. But if you guys want to find Spider-Man and the Secret Balls on Facebook, if you just go into the search bar at the top and say put in @Secret Balls, The page will come up. If you're looking for us on Twitter, it's at Dan_Bores. The podcast is available on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and many, many other podcast platforms. Remember to hashtag us at hashtag join the Prattalion or hashtag prepare for Prattle. Thank you very much, Andy. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, guys. See you next time.